3.1 million. That's how many live websites are running Next.js right now. Usage tripled in 2024 compared to the year before. By every market metric, Next.js is winning, dominating even. But here's what the numbers don't show. In the 2024 State of JavaScript survey, Next.js positive sentiment dropped to 68%. And that's not a minor dip. That's a framework losing the room while filling it. Developers are choosing Next.js for their projects, then quietly resenting the choice. This is the paradox at the heart of modern web development. The framework everybody uses is the same framework everybody complains about. Companies keep adopting it. Developers keep learning it. And the frustration keeps growing. What happens when a technology wins the market but loses the trust of the people building with it? The answer reveals something uncomfortable about how frameworks become entrenched, how corporate interests shape open source tools, and why popularity and quality sometimes move in the opposite directions. Next.js isn't just a framework story, it's the story about what happens when momentum replaces merit. Tom Ochino is a VP of Engineering at Vercel, the company behind Next.js. In early 2025, he made a remarkable admission. I wasn't happy with the app router when he first used it. This wasn't some external critic. This was someone inside the company acknowledging that the framework's flagship feature felt broken. The app router became the default in Next.js 13, released in October 2022. It fundamentally changed how Next.js applications work, replacing the pages router with a new paradigm built around React server components. The pitch? Better performance, better developer experience, better everything. The reality? Months of GitHub issues documenting broken hot refresh, slow build times, and cryptic error messages. At React Summit 2025, only 30% of attendees had actually tried React server components, despite near universal awareness. Developers knew about the feature, they just weren't convinced it was ready. And they were right to hesitate. The app router wasn't just a new feature. It was a bet that developers would tolerate instability for the promise of future benefits. Vercel made it default anyway, and that decision, making an admittedly unfinished system the recommended path, is where trust started to crack. Because once someone becomes the default, developers stop asking if it's good. They just assume they are supposed to use it. Every time your Next.js development server takes 8 seconds to refresh after a single line change, something is wrong. Every time you save a file and the screen freezes instead of updating, the promise of fast refresh feels like a joke. These aren't edge cases. These are daily frustrations documented across hundreds of GitHub issues. Joseph Urban, a developer who migrated from Next.js to Remix, published the numbers. His Next.js project, 86 dependencies. 133 kilobytes bundle size, and after moving to Remix, just 39 dependencies and 28 KB. That's not optimization, that's excavation. He'd been carrying more than twice the weight he needed. The complexity isn't accidental. Next.js has accumulated layers upon layers of abstraction. File-based routing, middleware, API routes, image optimization, font optimization, React server components, server actions, parallel routes, intercepting routes. Each feature adds dependencies. Each dependency adds compilation time. Each compilation adds seconds to your feedback loop. Developers joke that Next.js is the framework that makes you wait. Wait for the dev server to start. Wait for hot refresh to maybe work. Wait for build to finish. For a framework that markets itself on performance, the developer experience has become surprisingly slow. And when you are losing minutes every hour to build times, those minutes compound into hours every week. The tool meant to make you faster is making you slower. In March 2025, Vercel discovered a critical security vulnerability in Next.js middleware. Not a minor bug, a serious security issue affecting any Next.js application using middleware. Vercel fixed it quietly. They waited 8 days before notifying Netlify, a competing hosting platform that also runs Next.js applications. Eduardo Bocas, an engineer at Netlify, published a detailed breakdown of what happened. His question was simple: why the delay? Vercel's customers were protected immediately. Netlify's customer, also Next.js users, remained vulnerable for over a week. The implication was clear. When disclosure timelines favor business competition over security, governance has a problem. This is where Vercel Next.js relationship gets uncomfortable. Next.js is technically open source. Anybody can contribute, fork, deploy. But Vercel controls the roadmap, employs the core team, and designs features that work best on Vercel's infrastructure. Eduardo Bocas noted that certain Next.js features are difficult or impossible to implement on non-Vercel platforms. That's not accidental architecture, that's strategic design. The framework is open, the incentives are not. And when a company's revenue depends on hosting Next.js applications, every decision about Next.js becomes a business decision. Developers sense this. They see features optimized for Vercel's edge network. They notice documentation that assumes Vercel deployment. Are we choosing Next.js or are we being funneled towards a hosting provider? Why is Next.js unstable? Because React itself is unstable. In December 2025, React disclosed CVE 2025-55182, a critical security vulnerability in React server components with a severity score of 10.0, the maximum possible rating. Server components, the technology Next.js built its app router around, had a fundamental security flaw that took years to surface. Chad Sumner, creator of Bun Runtime, said it plainly. React server components integration is very incomplete and documentation is minimal. Naman Goel, the developer of Meta's StyleX, noted that server components evolved from a performance optimization into a whole architecture without clear boundaries. These aren't critics from outside the React ecosystem. These are people building tools for it. At React Summit 2025, as already mentioned, when the speaker asked who had tried React server components, only 30% of hands went up. The other 70% had heard about them, understood the concept, and chosen not to adopt them. That hesitation isn't ignorance, it's a caution. Developers can tell when a feature isn't ready. Next.js became the testing ground for React's unfinished ideas. Vercel pushed server components into production because they needed a competitive edge. React pushed them into Next.js because they needed real-world validation. And developers got features that worked in demos but broke in production. The partnership between React and Next.js made both frameworks move faster than their stability could support. Here's the rational part. Despite everything, Next.js still gets you to production faster than most alternatives. The ecosystem is mature. The documentation is comprehensive. The hiring pool is deep. When a client says, build me a React app, Next.js is the safe answer. Not because it's the best, because it's the expected. Over 3.1 million websites run on Next.js. That installed base creates gravity. Component libraries are tested against Next.js first. Deployment platforms optimize for Next.js explicitly. Tutorials assume Next.js as the default. The framework's dominance becomes self-reinforcing, regardless of satisfaction. Alternatives exist. Remix offers a cleaner architecture. Astro provides better performance for content sites. SvelteKit delivers a simple developer experience. But switching frameworks means retraining teams, rewriting deployment pipelines, and explaining to stakeholders why you are abandoning the industry standard. For many companies, that's not a technical decision, it's a political one. So developers stay. They work around the broken hot refresh. They tolerate the slow builds. They architect around the Vercel specific features, not because Next.js is the best tool for the job, but because leaving is harder than staying. The framework has achieved something remarkable: market lock-in without vendor lock-in. You are free to leave, you just won't. This pattern isn't new. jQuery dominated web development for years after better alternatives emerged. Angular remained the enterprise standard long after developers started preferring React. Dominant frameworks don't lose because something better appears. They lose when the pain of staying finally exceeds the cost of leaving. Next.js is winning the adoption war, while losing developer trust. Usage climbs while sentiment drops. That gap can only widen for so long before something breaks. Either Vercel addresses the governance concerns, stabilizes the app router, and rebuilds trust, or developers start making different recommendations. Tom Occhino, the Vercel VP who admitted that he wasn't happy with app router, later said developers should give it another chance. That framing is revealing. The problem isn't that developers didn't give it a chance. The problem is they did, and it wasn't ready. Next.js is still winning, but it's winning the way an incumbent wins. Through momentum, not merit. Through ecosystem lock-in, not technical excellence. Through being the path of least resistance, not the path of most excitement. And that's sustainable, right up until it isn't. Because developers have long memories, and frameworks that ignore their users eventually learn. You can't stay on top by making people choose between their principles and their pragmatism. Eventually, they find a way to have both. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, as we'll see you soon in the next one. Till then, peace out.